My name is Alice Jordan. I'm 31 years old. 9 weeks ago, I gave my own father my left kidney and saved his life. On November 23rd, at his big recovery dinner, my mother stood up with a huge smile, raised her glass, and said, "To Natalie, my incredible daughter, the one who saved your father's life with her fundraiser." 22 relatives exploded into cheers and applause. Not a single person looked at me. I sat there with a fresh 6-inch scar burning on my side, 9 weeks of unpaid medical bills, an empty bank account, and a body that will never be the same, while my own mother erased the kidney I donated like it never happened. Then my father suddenly grabbed my wrist under the table, eyes filled with shame, and slid a napkin toward me. What I read on that napkin changed everything. And when my mother and sister finally found out the truth weeks later, our entire family didn't just break. It exploded. If you're watching this right now, please hit subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I read every single one. But first, let me take you back 31 years, to the beginning of being invisible in my own family. I work at Bright Futures Education Fund. It's a small nonprofit in Charlotte that helps first-generation college students navigate financial aid. My salary is $36,500 a year. I live in a studio apartment 20 minutes from my parents' house. My mother invites me over maybe 5 times a year. My sister Natalie is 36. She's the VP of Operations at Jordan Medical Supply Company, the business my father founded in 1998. She makes $185,000 a year. She has a husband, 2 kids, a house in the suburbs, and my mother's undivided attention. When Natalie joined the company in 2015, my mother said, "Finally, someone who understands what legacy means." Nika, I had just finished my master's degree in healthcare administration. No one asked if I wanted to interview. I stopped going to family events in 2023, the annual Christmas dinners where I sat at the kids' table even though I was 30. The birthday parties where my mother forgot to get me a card. The company milestones where I wasn't invited because it's really just for employees and board members. But on July 20th, 2025, someone still had my number. My father collapsed at the company's 27th anniversary gala. 200 people, black tie, speeches about growth and innovation and family values. I wasn't invited. I learned about it from a LinkedIn post Natalie made the next morning. At 9:47 p.m. that night, my cousin Julie texted me, "Your dad collapsed. They're taking him to Presbyterian Hospital. Thought you should know." I was eating leftover pasta in my apartment, watching a cooking show. I changed clothes and drove 25 minutes to the hospital. I arrived at 10:31 p.m. My mother and Natalie were in the ER waiting room, heads close together, whispering. When my mother looked up and saw me, her face didn't show relief. It showed annoyance. I walked over. "How is he?" "They're running tests," my mother said. Her tone was flat. "It's his kidneys. We're waiting for the nephrologist." Natalie barely looked up from her phone. I sat 3 chairs away from them. No one spoke to me. 45 minutes later, a doctor came out and spoke directly to my mother. I strained to hear. "Stage 4 kidney failure. He needs a transplant within 6 to 8 weeks, or he'll be on dialysis for the rest of his life. We'll need to test family members for compatibility. Living donor is ideal if we can find a match." My mother glanced at Natalie. "We'll do whatever it takes." I wasn't included in we. At 11:58 p.m., the doctor let us see him briefly. My mother and Natalie went in together. I waited. When they came out 10 minutes later, my mother said, "You can go in if you want, but don't tire him out. He needs rest." I walked toward his room. I could hear my father's voice. Weak. "Is Alice here?" My mother didn't answer him. I pushed open the door. My father was hooked to monitors, IV lines, oxygen. His skin looked gray. When he saw me, tears filled his eyes. "I thought you'd come," he said. "Of course I came, Dad." "Your mother said. She said you were probably busy, that you don't really stay involved with family stuff anymore." I understood then. My mother had been telling him I was the one who pulled away. "I'm here," I said. I took his hand. "I'm not going anywhere." He squeezed my fingers. "They said I need a new kidney. I don't want to ask you kids to. I'll get tested, Dad. Tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow." "You don't have to." "I want to." As I left, I passed my mother and Natalie in the hallway. I heard my mother whisper to Natalie, "She'll probably test and then back out. You know how she is with commitment." I kept walking. My hands were shaking. The next morning, I called the transplant coordinator at Presbyterian Hospital. "My name is Alice Jordan. My father, Kenneth Jordan, was admitted last night with kidney failure. I want to get tested as a living donor. Can you come in this afternoon at 2 p.m.? "I'll be there." I didn't tell my mother or Natalie. A week later, on July 28th, I got the call. "Ms. Jordan, you're a compatible match. Blood type O positive, tissue compatibility 98%, excellent kidney function. You're an ideal donor." I sat in my car in the hospital parking garage and cried. Relief and dread mixed together. I called my father directly. "Dad, I got tested. I'm a match. I want to donate." His voice broke. "Alice, you don't have to." "I know, I want to." There was a long silence. Then, "Your mother's going to have opinions. Let her." 2 days later, my mother called a family meeting at their house. My father, my mother, Natalie, and me. My mother opened with, "We need to discuss Kenneth's transplant options." I said, "I'm a compatible donor. I'm willing to donate." Silence. My mother stared at me. "You tested without telling us?" "I wanted to be sure first." Natalie said, "I was going to test this week." A lie. She hadn't scheduled anything. My mother turned to my father. "Kenneth, what do you think? Do you want Alice to do this?" "If she's willing," my father said quietly. "If she's a match. I don't want to wait for a cadaver donor. The list is 2 years long." My mother's jaw tightened. "We could find another living donor. A friend. A colleague. Someone who isn't your daughter." I looked at her. "Why? I'm a perfect match. I'm willing. What's the problem?" My mother looked me straight in the eye. "The problem is, you've never finished anything difficult in your life." I drove home in silence, but my father called me that night. "Alice, if you're sure, then let's do it. I trust you." 3 days later, on August 5th, Natalie called me. Rare. "I've been thinking," she said. "Since you're donating, I want to do something to help. I'm organizing a fundraiser, kidney disease awareness. We can raise money for research and offset Dad's medical costs." I felt uneasy, but I said, "That's nice of you." "I'm thinking a charity gala, company sponsors. I can get local news coverage, turn this into something positive." "Will the fundraiser mention that I'm donating?" "Of course. It's all about the family coming together." But Natalie's tone was already shaping the narrative toward herself. A week later, I Googled Natalie Jordan fundraiser. I found the preliminary event listing, Natalie Jordan Pierce Kidney Health Initiative, supporting the Jordan family. My name appeared nowhere in the description. On August 18th, I had my final pre-op psychological evaluation with Amy Brennan, the hospital social worker. Standard questions about my support system, my motivations, my understanding of the risks. Then Amy asked, "Have you felt any pressure from your family to donate?" I paused. "No, this is my choice." "And do you feel seen by your family? Appreciated for this decision?" I paused too long. Amy made a note. After I left, Amy wrote in her file, Donor psychologically sound but family dynamics concerning. Mother's language about patient minimizing and dismissive. Flag for post-op monitoring. That same afternoon, my mother came to Amy's office. I didn't know this until much later, but it happened. September 14th, the night before surgery. I couldn't sleep. I scrolled through Natalie's Instagram. Photos of her at fundraiser planning meetings. Captions like, "Doing everything I can for Dad." I felt a knot in my stomach. At 11 p.m., my father called. "Alice, are you awake?" "Yeah, Dad." "You can still back out. No one will blame you." "I'm not backing out." "When you wake up tomorrow, you're going to be in pain. Real pain. And I'll be okay because of you. I'll never forget that." I took a breath. "Promise me something, Dad. Anything. Don't let them erase this. Don't let Mom turn this into something it's not." There was a long pause. "I won't," he said. "I promise." September 15th, 2025, 5:30 a.m. I arrived at the hospital in the dark. My mother and Natalie were already in the pre-op waiting area. I saw Natalie on her phone. I heard her say, "Yes, the surgery's today. I'll post updates." "No, we're keeping it private for now, but I'll have a statement ready after the fundraiser." She was already planning how to frame the story. At 6:15 a.m., I was in a pre-op gown with an IV in my arm. My father was wheeled past my bay on his way to his operating room. We made eye contact. He mouthed, "Thank you." Dr. Priya Sharma, the surgeon, explained the procedure one final time. 4 to 5 hours. Laparoscopic if possible. You'll wake up in recovery. Expect significant pain. My mother and Natalie stopped by my bay for 30 seconds. My mother said, "Good luck." Natalie said, "You're so brave." Then they left. The anesthesiologist told me to count backward from 10. I got to 7. I woke up at 2:17 p.m., searing pain in my left side. I tried to call for a nurse, but my throat was too dry from the breathing tube. I heard machines beeping. I realized I was alone in the recovery bay. For the next 6 hours, nurses checked my vitals every hour. Minimal interaction. At 4 p.m., a nurse mentioned, "Your father came through surgery well. He's in ICU recovery. Your family's with him now." I said, Can someone come here?" "They're focused on your dad right now. I'll let them know you're asking." No one came. At 8 p.m., a different nurse, her name was Beth, came in. She looked at me for a long moment. "Honey, do you have someone you want me to call? You shouldn't be alone after major surgery." "Oh, my family's here," I said. "They're just with my dad." Beth's face changed. "Your mom and sister, they've been in your dad's ICU room since 3 p.m. They know you're awake, right?" "I think so." "Want me to go get them?" "No, it's okay. He needs them more." Beth looked at me. "That's not how this works, sweetie." At 9:30 p.m., my mother finally appeared at the foot of my bed. "They're moving you to a room," she said. "Kenneth's stable. Everything went well." I asked, "How is he?" "Better than expected. The kidney started working immediately. Dr. Sharma said it's a perfect match." I waited. My mother said, "Get some rest. We'll check on you tomorrow." She left. No one had said thank you. At 2:50 a.m. on September 16th, my door opened quietly. My father was in a wheelchair, pushed by a night nurse. He had an oxygen tank. He looked weak, but he was there. "I told them I needed to see you," he whispered. The nurse said, 5 minutes. He's not supposed to be out of ICU." My father wheeled his chair close to my bed. He took my hand. He was crying. "I see you, Alice," he said. "I've always seen you, and I'm going to make this right." I was crying too. "Dad, it's okay." "It's not okay. It's never been okay. The way your mother..." The way I let her. I'm going to fix it. You don't have to. Yes, I do. I should have done it 34 years ago. As the nurse wheeled him back, he said over his shoulder, "Tomorrow morning, some people are coming to see me. A social worker and a lawyer. I'm taking care of something." I was too medicated to understand. I fell asleep. What I didn't know was that at 11:30 a.m. the next morning, September 16th, 2025, my father signed a document in his ICU room. Amy Brennan, the social worker, was there. Russell Walsh, an estate attorney, was there. Dr. Sharma was there as a witness. My father, still weak but completely lucid, signed a durable power of attorney for healthcare. He changed his medical proxy from my mother to me. It was witnessed, notarized, time-stamped. I didn't know. 2 days later, on September 18th, he signed another document, a life insurance beneficiary change form. Northwestern Mutual Policy Number NM-8834201, $2.3 million. The beneficiary had been my mother for 18 years. He changed it to me. On September 20th, he signed a third document, a restricted stock transfer agreement, Jordan Medical Supply Company. My father owned 68% of the company he'd founded. He transferred 51% of voting shares to me. On September 25th, that transfer was filed with the North Carolina Secretary of State. I knew none of this. I was home, alone, trying to recover. The first 2 weeks were bed rest. I couldn't lift more than 5 pounds. I couldn't drive. I couldn't reach the plates on the top shelf of my kitchen. I couldn't carry my laundry down the stairs. I slept 16 hours a day. No one offered to help. My mother called once. "How are you?" "Managing." "Good. Kenneth's kidney function is 95%. Perfect." She hung up. On day 10, Natalie texted, "How's recovery? Fundraiser planning going great. So excited." Week 2, my boss Jennifer called. "Alice, we need to talk about your leave. We don't have paid medical leave for this long. You're at 2 weeks unpaid." "How much longer?" "The surgeon said 6 to 9 weeks total." "We can hold your position through 8 weeks. After that?" I realized I could lose my job. Week 3, I tried to work from home. I could manage 2 to 3 hours before exhaustion hit like a wall. Week 4, I developed a fever. 101.2 degrees. I went to the ER, another $1,200 after insurance. I started calculating my costs. 9 weeks of unpaid leave. $6,300 in lost wages. My insurance deductible, $2,500. Non-covered pre-op tests, $890. The ER visit for the infection, $1,200. Prescriptions, $340. Total out of pocket, $11,230. My savings account had $3,100 before all this. I was now in overdraft. -$200. I applied for a medical hardship payment plan, $200 a month for 12 months. I had no idea how I'd pay it. Meanwhile, Natalie's fundraiser was everywhere. Local news, local executive leads, kidney health fundraiser, company LinkedIn posts, Instagram stories. The event was scheduled for October 15th at Cedarwood Country Club. I wasn't invited. One article mentioned supporting the Jordan family's medical journey. My name was not mentioned once. Week 4, I had a follow-up with Dr. Sharma. She looked at me carefully. "You're healing well physically," she said. "But you seem... Are you getting support at home?" "I'm fine." The social worker noted some concerns before surgery about your family dynamic. "If you need resources..." I said I'm fine. After I left, Dr. Sharma sent an email to Amy Brennan. "Follow up on Alice Jordan post-op. I'm concerned." In week 6, I finally opened a letter my father had sent me. It contained a check for $2,000. The note said, For your medical expenses, I know it's not enough. I'm sorry I can't do more right now without raising questions. Dad. I stared at the phrase, without raising questions. What did that mean? I deposited the check. It covered 18% of my debt. Week 7. Week 8. I'd been avoiding social media during recovery, but in early November, a coworker sent me a link. It was Natalie's Instagram. The fundraiser had happened on October 15th. 150 guests, silent auction, speeches. Natalie's post showed her holding an oversized check, my mother in an evening gown beside her, my father in a wheelchair, smiling weakly, Natalie's husband Drew in a tuxedo. The caption read, "Overwhelmed with gratitude. Together, we raised $83,200 for kidney disease research. My father's journey inspired this, and I'm honored to lead this initiative. Family is everything." There were 2,156 likes. The top comment, "You're amazing, Natalie. What an incredible daughter." I scrolled through the photos, 23 pictures from the event. I appeared in one, far in the background, blurry. You could only tell it was me because I recognized the blue cardigan I'd worn. I read the fundraiser fine print. All proceeds benefit the National Kidney Foundation, tax-deductible donations, sponsored by Jordan Medical Supply Company matching program. I called the National Kidney Foundation. I'm inquiring about a donation from the Natalie Jordan Pierce Initiative. Yes, we received $83,200 in October. Wonderful contribution. Who gets the tax credit for that? Individual donors receive deductions. Corporate matching is credited to Jordan Medical Supply Company. My company, my father's company, had gotten a $41,600 tax write-off. I searched for Jordan Medical Supply PR 2025. I found a press release dated October 18th. JMSC demonstrates corporate social responsibility with $41,600 matching donation to kidney health. VP Natalie Jordan Pierce spearheaded initiative aligning with company values. I searched Natalie's LinkedIn. She'd updated her profile. New headline, VP of Operations, Healthcare, Advocate, Nonprofit Fundraising Leader. I found an industry publication from October 22nd, Rising Stars in Medical Supply, Natalie Jordan Pierce's Leadership in Crisis. The article quoted her, "In times of family crisis, true leaders emerge. I knew I had to step up and transform our personal challenge into an opportunity for community impact." I read that sentence 5 times. My father was 64. He'd planned to retire at 65. Succession at the company had been unclear for years. This fundraiser wasn't about my father's medical costs. It was Natalie's CEO audition. On November 15th, 2025, 9 weeks after my surgery, Dr. Sharma cleared me for normal activity. Permanent restrictions, no contact sports, kidney monitoring every 6 months for life. I can never donate an organ again. Slightly higher risk for hypertension. I was finally cleared to return to work full-time. That same day, I received a text from my mother. Family dinner Sunday, November 23rd, post-Thanksgiving, to celebrate Kenneth's recovery. 6 p.m., Ashford Hall. Private room. 22 guests. Cocktail attire. Be there. No, please. No, thank you for donating. Just be there. I stared at the message for 10 minutes. Then I typed, "I'll be there." I didn't know that dinner would change everything. On November 20th, I went shopping for a dress. I'd lost weight during recovery. Nothing fit. I bought a navy dress for $89. It stretched my budget. The dress showed my scar when I moved. 2 inches of pink raised tissue above the neckline. I considered returning it. Then I decided, let them see what this cost. On November 22nd, the night before the dinner, I couldn't sleep. At 10:17 p.m., I called my father. Dad, I need to know. Is Mom going to mention the donation at dinner? Long silence. Alice, I can't control what your mother says, but I can control what happens after. Please trust me. Come tomorrow. Will you say something about the donation? Come tomorrow, that's all I can say. His voice was shaking. After we hung up, I sat in the dark and looked at my navy dress hanging on the closet door. 22 people. A celebration. A toast. Maybe this time would be different. Maybe this time they'd see me. November 23rd, 2025. 6:08 p.m. I arrived at Ashford Hall. The private dining room was called the Sterling Room. Long table set for 24. 2 people didn't show. There were name cards at each place setting. I found mine. Position 18 out of 22. I was seated between my cousin Tom, I'd met him maybe once, and my cousin Julie. At the head of the table, my father. To his right, my mother, then Natalie, then Natalie's husband Drew. To his left, my father's sister Margaret, then his brother James. I was at the far end, nearly out of sight. Julie whispered, "Why are you sitting down here?" "I don't know. Mom did the seating chart." Of course she did. From 6:15 to 6:45, there was a cocktail hour. Appetizers were passed. I stood near the table holding a glass of water. I was still on pain medication. I couldn't drink alcohol. Natalie was near my father's chair showing people photos of the fundraiser on her phone. My mother was hugging relatives, working the room. No one approached me except Julie, who whispered, "We need to talk after this." And Diane Foster, my father's assistant of 28 years, who made eye contact with me from across the room and mouthed, "I'm sorry." And Natalie's 8-year-old daughter Sophie, who walked up to me and said, "Aunt Alice, why do you have that scar?" "I had surgery, sweetie." "Did it hurt?" "Yes." "Mommy says you should cover scars at fancy dinners." I forced a smile. Sometimes scars are important to show. Natalie overheard. Her face flashed something. Guilt, maybe. For half a second. Then it smoothed over. She pulled Sophie away. "Come here, honey, let's get you some shrimp." At 6:42 p.m., my mother tapped a spoon against her glass. "Everyone, please take your seats. We're about to begin." I walked to position 18. When I bent to sit, I felt a sharp pain in my left side. Still healing. I winced. Julie noticed. "You okay?" "Fine." The table filled. My father was wheeled to the head by venue staff. He was stronger now, but still used a walker for short distances. He made eye contact with me down the table. His eyes looked sad and determined. I nodded at him. My mother sat. She smoothed her napkin. She looked satisfied. Natalie sat. She glanced at me once, then looked away. Appetizer course was served. Butternut squash soup. I couldn't eat. My stomach was tight. My mother stood. She tapped her glass again. "Everyone, before we order entrees, I want to say a few words about why we're here tonight." She was standing, all eyes on her. 3 months ago, she said, we almost lost Kenneth. Stage 4 kidney failure. The doctors said without a transplant he'd be on dialysis for the rest of his life. It was the scariest moment of our family's life. She paused. Let it breathe. But in that darkness, one person stepped up. One person showed extraordinary leadership, compassion, and strength. My heart started pounding. I knew where this was going. That person, my mother continued, organized a fundraiser that brought our entire community together. She raised $83,200 for kidney disease research. She coordinated with teams. She held this family together when I was falling apart. I looked at my father. He was staring at his plate. His jaw was clenched. Natalie's face looked... I couldn't tell if she was surprised or if she'd rehearsed this. My mother raised her glass. So please join me in raising your glasses. She turned toward Natalie. She smiled. To Natalie, my incredible daughter, the one who saved your father's life. My father's sister Margaret tried to speak. Claire, wait. I thought. But my mother talked right over her. To Natalie. 22 glasses rose. To Natalie. Clink, clink, clink. The sound of glass on glass moved around the table like a wave. My glass stayed on the table. I couldn't move. Natalie stood. She dabbed at her eyes. The tears looked real. Thank you, Mom, she said. Her voice broke. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but Dad is worth it. Family is everything. Applause. Natalie hugged my mother. Drew, her husband, stood and clapped. He didn't know. He thought the fundraiser was the main contribution. He wouldn't learn the truth for weeks. Sophie and Lucas, their kids, clapped because that's what kids do. My father's hand stayed flat on the table. He wasn't clapping. My cousin next to me said, "Your sister is amazing. You must be so proud." I couldn't speak. I just nodded. My vision was blurring. She might as well have said, "My real daughter." That's what I heard. I stood up. My chair scraped back. Several people looked. I was heading for the door. And then my father's hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. His grip was strong despite his weakness. I stopped. The entire table was watching now. My father's eyes locked on mine. He was crying. Without speaking, he slid a folded napkin across the table toward me with his other hand. He whispered, only I could hear, "Read it. Please, don't leave yet." I picked up the napkin. My mother said, "Alice, are you all right?" I looked at her. My voice came out cold, controlled. "I'm fine, Mom. Just processing how generous Natalie is." I sat back down. I unfolded the napkin in my lap. Below the table, out of sight. I read it. The handwriting was my father's. Shaky, but clear. I changed the medical proxy back to you September 16th. Life insurance $2.3 million. Your sole beneficiary. Filed September 18th. The business. 51% voting shares transferred to you. Executed September 20th. Filed with state. September 25th. They don't know yet. Attorney Walsh has everything. I'm sorry I waited so long. I see you now. Dad. I read it once. Twice. 3 times. I looked up at my father. He nodded. Barely. I folded the napkin. I put it in my purse. I took a deep breath. Dinner service began. I ate mechanically. Conversation flowed around me. Relatives congratulated Natalie. Asked about the fundraiser. About her leadership. I said nothing. At 8:45 p.m., dinner ended. I stood. I thanked my mother. Thank you for hosting. I hugged my father. I'll call you tomorrow. I walked out. In the parking lot, I sat in my car. I pulled out the napkin. I read it again under the dome light. My hands were shaking now. He changed everything. The day after my surgery, September 16th. While I was alone in recovery, he was signing a medical proxy. September 18th. The life insurance, September 20th. The shares. While they were planning Natalie's publicity stunt, he was transferring power to me. 51% voting shares. That's majority control. $2.3 million. That was supposed to be my mother's security. Medical proxy. That's decision-making authority if he can't speak for himself. They don't know yet. My phone rang. My father. I answered. Dad. Did you read it? Yes. And? Why did you wait so long to tell me? His voice was quiet. I needed you to see what they would do, at dinner. I needed you to witness it. So you'd know you're not crazy. So you'd know this wasn't in your head. They erased you. On purpose. I was crying now. Use the power, Alice. Fix what I broke, or burn it all down. Your choice. I'll support you either way. I drove home. At 10:15 p.m., I checked my phone. I'd missed a call. Russell Walsh, the attorney my father had mentioned. There was a voicemail. Ms. Jordan, Russell Walsh returning your call. Yes. I've been waiting to hear from you. Your father said you'd reach out after the family dinner. I can see you Monday, November 25th, at 9 a.m. We have quite a bit to discuss. Everything your father executed is ironclad. Witnesses, notarization, proper filing. I'll walk you through it all. See you Monday. I played it 3 times. Ironclad. Waiting to hear from you. After the family dinner. My father had planned every step. Monday, November 25th, 8:55 a.m. Walsh and Associates, 14th floor, downtown Charlotte. Russell Walsh was 58. Gray hair, kind eyes, but sharp. Ms. Jordan, thank you for coming. Your father speaks very highly of you. I said, he's never said that to me directly. Walsh smiled slightly. He said that too, that he owes you 34 years of words he didn't say. He's trying to make up for it now. He gestured to a chair. Before we begin, I need to confirm. You donated your kidney to your father on September 15th? Yes. And at the family dinner Saturday, your mother toasted your sister for saving his life? Yes. Walsh nodded. Your father told me that would happen. He said, she needs to see it herself. Otherwise, she won't believe how bad it is. He was right, wasn't he? I couldn't speak. I just nodded. Walsh opened the first folder. Let's start with what your father did, when he did it, and why it's legally unassailable. He slid a document across the table. Durable Power of Attorney for Healthcare, signed September 16th, 2025, at 11:30 a.m., one day after your surgery, witnessed by Dr. Priya Sharma, your ICU attending physician, and Amy Brennan, hospital social worker, notarized by the hospital notary. I stared at the signature line, my father's handwriting, shaky but clear. Dr. Sharma's signature, Amy Brennan's signature with a hospital stamp, a notary seal. Walsh continued. This replaces the previous power of attorney, which named your mother. You now have full authority to make medical decisions for your father if he's incapacitated. Why did he change this? He's healthy now. Walsh looked at me. He said, and I quote, if I have another health crisis, I don't trust Claire to choose what's best for me. She'll choose what's best for her image. Alice will choose what I would want. He opened the second folder. Northwestern Mutual Policy Number NM-88342001. $2.3 million death benefit. Original beneficiary, Claire Jordan, 100%. Beneficiary change form signed September 18th, 2025. New beneficiary, Alice Jordan, 100%. He slid the form across the table. This only requires the policyholder's signature. Your father didn't need your mother's permission. The change is already processed with Northwestern Mutual, effective immediately. I stared at the form. So, if he dies, you receive $2.3 million. Your mother receives 0. That policy has been in place for 18 years. Your father paid $6,200 annually. Your mother thought she was the beneficiary the entire time. This will destroy her. Walsh's voice was even. That's not my concern. My concern is executing your father's wishes. He was very clear. Alice saved my life. Alice gets the policy. He opened the third folder. Jordan Medical Supply Company, Restricted Stock Transfer Agreement. Your father owned 68% of the company he founded. He executed a transfer of 51% voting shares to you. Kenneth retains 17% non-voting. Dated September 20th, 2025. filed with the North Carolina Secretary of State on September 25, 2025. He showed me the filing, official state seal, filing number NC-2025-88291, my name in legal print as majority shareholder. Your mother owns 25% non-voting shares. Your sister owns 7% non-voting. You now have majority voting control. You can appoint board members, remove officers, make operational decisions, approve budgets, fire executives, including your mother and sister. I felt dizzy. Now, Walsh said, you might wonder why your sister didn't discover this sooner. The filing is public record, yes, but your father, as chairman, controls when the board is formally notified of major shareholder changes. He timed it perfectly. They'll find out right before the quarterly board meeting in December. He gave them just enough rope. I looked at Walsh. They don't know? Your mother and sister have no idea. Unless they check the Secretary of State database, they won't know until you tell them. Or until you use the power. Walsh handed me a sealed envelope. Your father asked me to give you this after you saw the documents. I opened it. 2 pages, handwritten. Alice, I've been a coward for 34 years. Your mother trained me. That's what I tell myself. But the truth is, I let her. I chose peace over you. I chose her approval over your dignity. When you were 12, you found a photo album in my study, pictures of my sister Julie. She died in a car accident in 1982. She was 19. You look exactly like her. Same eyes, same smile, same spirit. Your mother couldn't look at you without seeing Julie, without being reminded that I had loved someone before her, someone I lost. She resented that. So she erased you. And I let her. I told myself I was keeping the peace. I told myself you were strong enough to handle it. I told myself Natalie needed more attention because she was fragile. I lied to myself for 34 years. I sent you money. $200 here, $500 there. Over 8 years, I sent you $28,000. It's not enough. It'll never be enough. But it's all I could do without your mother auditing me. She controlled the accounts. She controlled everything. Except